to open up our company. So it was CF APR 2022. That was our company that we created. And then in here, we currently don't have any members. And then we created our top level supervisory organization called executives. All right, let's search for it. There we go. In fact, let's rename our soup org so we are able to search for it better. So let's rename it Supervisory Organization. Edit name and code. So let's call it CF APR 2022. So when we search for it, at least we can find it quickly because this name is quite common. All right, so we created our organization executives, then we had our subordinate for executive management. And in executive management, we had set up our human resources, legal, operations, sales, and marketing. So that was our top layer organization. So in human resources, we want to have our people like the director HR, manager HR operations, and then we want to have manager recruiting, training, and so we have operations, recruiting, and trainings. Would you like to create separate organizations for these in your HR? So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So human resources, let's go to reorganization tab, create subordinate. Want the effective date to be, say, 1st of April. Let's call it HR operations. Okay, department, include manager's name, external URL or CF Hawaii. No, that was not our CF. So we have HR operations, then we want to have recruiting. And so I have another option for splitting an organization. So let's say we want to break recruiting into two. So I go to recruiting as an organization. And on the recruiting organization, again, I go to reorganization tab and say divide organization. Training. Okay, and select it as departments, include manager's name. And when we divided it, it is asking for the roles assignment. So I want to make sure that the manager and HR partner are there. So now as you can see, assign roles onto training organization. You can see on the top, because we divided an existing organization, so it is asking for the roles to be assigned to that new organization that we divided from. Otherwise, if we would have just created a subordinate, all the roles and assignments and organization assignments would be inherited by the superior organization for the other things that we have done. So let's go back to recruiting. Let's go back to human resources to the superior organization. And now you should see training, recruiting, and operations are available as subordinates of human resources. Creating the organization and assigning the subordinate and superior. So I would say no questions so far. This is explanatory and you have been able to follow through so far. Okay, so I will jump back to the slide deck to get on to the next part and say, so remember we talked about it that, a superior organization would have subordinates and subordinates may have other people managing it. like the bull span, the coaching and designated hitters. Let me grab a pen so I can explain a little better. Like the designated hitters, the coaching and the bullpen, and they're all under Chicago Cubs. And the name of the manager that when we create the position and assign the role to them, currently everybody is showing Logan McNeil in the organization hierarchy. Now let's look at it in our tenant as well as to how it looks like when we try to look at the organizational hierarchy. So let's go to executive management. And here we have our executives as a superior organization or the top level organization. And let's look at it in a org tree structure. And go to related actions, supervisory, and down below, I should be able to see the org chart. So here you can see on the top is executives, the top level organization. Then we have the executive management, and it says 0 right now. And here it also says 0 because we have not created any positions or hired any people as yet. But if you see, we have the human resources, the legal, operations, and sales and marketing under executive management. And the human resources has a further tree going downwards. So you have a tree structure there. And then you have HR operations, recruiting, and training under human resources. So we have created our organizational hierarchy for the top level organization, the executives, the executive management. Then under executive management, we created human resources, and under human resources, we have created our HR operations, recruiting, and training. So we have created our organizational hierarchy in terms of the tree structure. Everything is currently assigned to Logan McNeil because she's the only person we have in our organization as of now. Now, this is a very interesting slide. As we go deeper into the Workday area, we have to keep it in mind that, the touch points within Workday. So if we look at the entire solutions by Workday, where compensation, payroll, finance, procurement, HCM, everything is there in the tenant. Because Workday is a unified solution, we have to understand the cross-functional impact of certain configuration decisions. This touchpoint diagrams provide insight of how an area of one product impacts another. Say, for example, if you're going to make any changes on the benefit side, it is connected to payroll, it is also connected to compensation, and it is also connected to the third-party payroll solution, such as ADP or whoever else we might be using. Similarly, if you make changes to recruiting, it will have impact on expenses. If you make changes to compensation, it will have impact on recruiting, it will have impact on payroll, it will have impact on benefits. If we make changes to the core of the system, so it may have impact on recruiting, compensation, performance, benefit. So whenever we make changes, we have to keep in mind the global perspective of how our tenant works and how everything is connected to everything. Whatever data or levels or information that we add to a particular customer, it may or most probably will have impact on the other side of the system. So one have to be mindful when making global configuration changes to evaluate the impact it may have on the other part of the systems. So in a supervisory organization, like the ones that we have created, supervisory organizations are the foundation to HCM. They group workers in a management hierarchy. A supervisory organization can be a business unit, a department, a group, or project. Jobs and positions and compensation structures are associated with a supervisory organization. Business processes can be assigned to supervisory organizations, and all approvals and checklists are built for the supervisory organization hierarchy with possible variations for particular organization within that hierarchy. So there is a possibility that the hiring process for legal may be different from the rest of the company, or hiring process for IT may be different from the rest of the company. So the hire process can be different for the overall company and specifically for IT organizations. And this is possible in Workday that we can have separate business processes for different supervisory organizations. So when we look at supervisory organization, there are four key characteristics unique to a supervisory organizations. Positions are only created within a supervisory organizations. They cannot be created anywhere else. Employees must be hired into a supervisory organization. Assignable roles have responsibilities within within a supervisory organization. So assignable roles are equivalent to responsibilities. And unique business process can be assigned to a supervisory organization. And if you look at this image like we saw here, executive CEO is Steve Morgan in Global Modern Services. That is the company. Then he has his executive organization where he has finance, then human resources, then technology, then operations and sales and marketing. They in turn have their own organizations like IT operations and IT development. Then IT would have their own organizations where they would report to different people, and hence the tree structure begins to grow. And on the left side, you will see the organization names like executive management, information technology, IT services group, and IT help desks. So based on our own company's infrastructure and the org structure, we are able to create our supervisory organizations within Workday. We can create our own custom organization or departments or divisions or units or factories or locations in the organization hierarchy, like the delivered our company, division, department, group. But here, when we try to create our supervisory organization, we see that there are other options as well. Like if somebody is a factory, so you have multiple factory units, so you can create your factory types here as well, like factory for raw materials, factory for finishing products, and so on. And if you have multiples of those, you can create your own organization types as well. So the supervisory organization can have organization subtypes like divisions or departments. You define each organization subtype for your specific need. So that is custom to your tenant. In organizations, departments are always superior to divisions, which are always superior to teams. So in the given hierarchy, departments, divisions, and the teams are the hierarchy of the Workday default organization. We've already discussed everyone, members only, administrators only, and all administrators only. So we've also created our own locations as well. So in the Workday system, a location can be created as a business site or an asset. I'm sorry, give me one moment. Thank you. So in the Workday system, a location can be created either as a business site, a business asset, or a workspace, like the location we created, the CF Hawaii. The business site location is used to account for the physical location of workers. So it identifies where the workers are going to be located at and provides a page to enter the time profile, time zone, and locale information. Like we added the time profile of standard 40 hours a week, the time zones, the locale information such as, the currency, the date and time format. This is a type of location that would be associated with a supervisory organization, while a business asset location is linked to finance. So there are two kinds of locations. So location represents a work location that will include the physical address as well as additional details such as email and phone number. So let me open the location as well on the side so we can have a look at that too. So like we have our location type, the URL, the contact information that we created in this location, the phone number, the address, the website. Then on the business side, we added the time profile, we added the display language, the locale of that location, the time zone, the currency, any external name if we have. So phone numbers, additional details, physical address, postal code validations can be set up in maintain localization setting contact information. So this is a global settings within Workday. I'll show you in the tenant. So you can set up the validate or require codes and can be country specific. So let's go ahead and have a look at this configuration as well. So again, I can use the search bar to do almost anything. I can search for locations. I can search for supervisory organization. I can go into the settings. So in the maintain localization settings, we go to contact information. And here you can set up the validate postal code or require postal code. And here the validation of postal code is currently set up for say Canada, India, UK, and the United States. And it is marked as active. And you can of course add it in. So if you want to have a restriction that require postal code is a must have, you can say add here. Make postal code a required field for selected countries. Say, come on. Interesting. Hmm. Anyways, it's not allowing me to do that, but I can select a country, allow for countries or region, select the country for the field that I want to, and mark it as active. And I can press OK. And of course, the validate postal code, the reason why we came here. And you have other localization settings here as well. So a time profile defines the standard numbers of hours worked in that location each week. Usually this is 48 hours per day, but in locations such as Paris, the work week might be defined as 35 hours per day, per week. And the time profile is created prior to creating the location. The locale controls the format for dates, times, and currencies. And if you specify a locale for a location, the users belonging to that site inherit that locale, right? So some of the fundamental characteristics of and structural aspect of organizations. So superior and subordinate organization, we've used this term again and again. This determines a organizational hierarchy. Availability date, where we put the availability date when we are editing an organization or making changes, is a date simply a reflection of when the supervisory organization was created. The name is the name of the organization. The code is an optional field that can be used in an additional identification field. The organizational subtypes can be user defined, or we can use the team, division, group, department as a hierarchy. Organizational visibility, we have discussed it. All the members can see it, or everyone can see it, or only the administrators for all organizations, or the administrator for that supervisory organization can see it. We've discussed the external URL. We have discussed the primary location. The staffing model tab, we will come to it later in the course, where each of the staffing model provides a different level of control over staffing and support different staffing goals. We will discuss that later in the course, of course. The assigned roles detonates the manager and other support personnel, drives the business processes. So roles are equal to responsibilities, and we assign the responsibilities for that particular organization to particular positions. An identifier tab appears when you create a supervisory organization, where you can put your government identifiers like we discussed earlier. So assignable roles are equivalent to responsibilities. So here, as we can see, assignable roles drives security tasks, access to employees, and involvement in business processes. Assignable roles reside in each type of organization, such as supervisory and location, etc., location hierarchy, etc. Roles are used in business process to assign tasks. They can either be inherited from a superior assigned to an organization, or roles that can be defaulted. So if we go back to our tenant and look at some of the assignable roles that we've worked with, and if I go to the role, and consider role as responsibility, so it would give you a better idea of what I'm trying to refer to. So for the employees that are going to be in the executive CF April 2022 organization, and who is going to be responsible for managing the compensation for all those employees who are part of this organization. I'm not talking about the subordinates. the organization executive CFAPR 2022 itself. So compensation partner is assigned to Logan McNeil. So anything that's related to compensation matters, they will be routed to Logan McNeil. If there's any decision that needs to be taken by a manager, it will be routed to currently to Logan McNeil. As we can see, the manager role is assigned to Logan. Similarly, HR partner, security partner, compensation partner we've discussed. They could be benefit partner, they could be time off partner, they could be IT partner, whatever kind of roles that your organization needs or has, and we need to assign them to specific organizations. This is where the role uh, uh, importance comes in. And I will show you when we discuss business processes how roles are assigned and used for the business process tasks. So looking at the slide deck, we can see that, Reynolds Oliver organization, he has Johansson Mark and Rizzo Anthony. They're part of information technology organization. And for the information technology organization, there are roles for HR partner, benefit partner, compensation partner, facilities partner, recruiter, and payroll partner. So these are all the roles that are required at GMS to support the supervisory organizations that are existing in the company at multiple levels. So we have looked at the reorganization task as well. So when creating organizations such as supervisory organization, companies, cost center, and regions, a reorganization event needs to be created. Like we have created our own CF April 2022. That reorganization event might include one change to the organization structure, or it can group multiple reorganization activities for one or more organizations and track these activities in the reorganization's report. So the organization event might include one change. So let's look at the reorganization report to look at what we have done so far. I'm just domain, which contains the reorganization's report. So activate pending security. Say I want to start with April 1st and today's date. And let's search for our reorganization event. And then here you can see all the activities of what we have done with our CFAPR 2022 reorganization. We created the company, we created organizations, we created an organization, created on date, time, and this is the activity. And if I click on my organizations, I can see all the details, the activity steps, the affected organizations created on. So remember I talked to you about that reorganizations is a timestamp and we can manage and monitor all our activities and group it together and report on it. So this is how it helps us with our reporting and activities tracking that what have we done in the organization changes. And for audit purposes or for reporting purposes, this may be important and required for your organization that you would be associated with. Let me jump back to the slide deck. So the organization event might include one change to the organization structure, or it can group multiple organization activities for one or more organizations and track these activities in the organization report. And we've already gone through this, the managing supervisory organization, like the reorganization tab, the assign superior, create subordinate, divide. We haven't inactivated or move workers because we haven't come down to that portion as yet. So these are your main reorganization options. So when we have created a supervisory organization, because organizations are a live entity, people come, people go, people move, managers change, managers move, roles change, people in roles change. It is an active life cycle entity. It will always continue to change every now and then. People will come, people will go. Like you can assign superior, you can inactivate an existing organization, you can inactivate an organization but before you inactivate, you have to move all the positions and the people and the headcount that you have in that organization to another organization. You cannot inactivate an existing organization with active members in it. Move workers. So if you have the same staffing model for both organizations, you can move a worker from one organization to another. All right. So while we jump onto this, before we go into additional organization types, I would like to create some positions within our organizations. So let's go to our top level organizations and let's refer back to our org chart or the organization sheet that we had created. So we are currently in the executives. So here we have one position for the CEO. So I would like to create a position here. So I go to the executives. I can go to staffing and I can create a position from here. So when I create a position, I have to go through a particular set of steps. Say create position, new hire. I want to create a position for a vacancy. Job posting title, Chief Executive Officer. CF APR 20. Well, let's just call it 22. Right? How many positions do I need? I just need one position. And I want to give the availability date when this position is going to be available for the recruiters. So they can start searching for a candidate. So I'm going to put 4/1 and say the earliest hire date. I want to put a restriction that, okay, I cannot hire before the 4th of April. So if I need to make these restrictions, I need to add them in. We will discuss in the position chapter more about all these restrictions. But here you can put no job restrictions, so you don't need to define anything here because this is the CEO position. So otherwise, you can put a job family, you can put up a job profile, you can put a summary, you can put a location, time type, worker type, and so on. And also, you can put all the qualification restrictions on the position itself. And the qualification could be competencies, it could be education, it could be experience, it could be skills. Well, let me open up the qualification tab to show you. Here you can see in the qualifications, we have skill, education, languages, certification, work experience, and so on. So we can also add this in our position restrictions, and the position will then further go to the recruiters for hiring of a potential candidate on the basic set of requirements that you create in a position. So currently for the CEO, I'm going to select no job restrictions because we already have a CEO selected. And I would like you all to name a CEO for me. Recommendation. So now if I go to staffing tab, I will see that I have one position available for this organization for the Executive CF APR 2022 because we just created this position and it isn't available to fill. So I can set it up, hire an employee on this. So please recommend a name for the employee and say I'm going to select hire employee. So I'm going to create a new hire, new pre-hire. If I have a referral from any of the sources like LinkedIn or any job boards, I can use that. Otherwise, I can keep it blank. If it's an internal referral by another employee, say Steve Morgan referred this person. So if there are any payments associated to the referrals, they can be added here. Because this is in Hawaii, the country is United States. So ladies and gentlemen, a name, please, that we are going to call our CEO. So Brian, and let's call the last name as Adam. Then we have to have at least one contact information. So I can add a phone number and an email address. Say 407-801-2443. Say mobile. This is going to be public, and I add an email. Say so hire date, let's say we hire this person today. We've created the pre-hire profile first. Now we are going to hire this person. So it's a new hire, new position. Position is something that we created. Employee type is going to be, say, regular. Job profile. So I'm going to select a existing job profile. If there's any available. Otherwise, we can create our own. Okay, we have a lot of these. Time type is going to be part-time or full-time. I'm going to select full-time employee. Location, we can use our CF Hawaii location. And the pay rate type, is it going to be hourly or salary? Because he is my CEO, I want to pay him a salary or her a salary. In this case, it's Brian Adams. If we're going to pay him a salary. If you have a specific workspace defined in our locations, like a cubicle, like a building or an office or something like that, we can set it up in the workspace. So for now, if I need any additional information, see officer, 40 hours location. So it picked up this location from the location hierarchy for CF Hawaii that it's a 40-hour scheduled weekly hours. Full-time employee, if I need to add any first day of work, continuous service date, benefit service date, if I need to add them, I can. Otherwise, I can press on submit. Okay, so there's an unassigned task in the hire business process that needs to be reassigned. So let's go ahead and do that. So you see, hire Brian Adams, Chief Executive Officer. So business process is looking for a particular role in the hire process, and it did not find that role assigned to anyone. And hence it went into the business process unassigned step. So we need to do a quick audit and fix this up. So I'm sorting this out by date with descending order. So I get that last item on the top. Okay, so this is going to take some time. So let's do one more thing. So this is the person that we created. He is currently a pre-hire. And let's go to our CF executives. I go to the staffing tab, and then here is the business process that we are trying to fix. So I open that in the new tab. While this is working, I'm going to reassign this pending task to Logan McNeil. So reassign task. So reassign unassigned task, and I'm going to give today's date only, so I don't get the back or earlier dates unassigned tasks. We just looking for today. And here we have, say, one-time payment for Steve Morgan, and then hire Brian Adam. Okay, so this is what we're going to assign to Logan. And I press OK. So this step is proposed compensation higher. And this is, oh, Logan McNeil is a person, it should not be a group. So let me fix this. I go to business process, edit definition, today's date. And I'm going to change this to HR partner. Hmm. First, I need to give permissions to the HR partner in this business process to be able to take actions. So I'm going to go to business process policy. Again, while I'm making these changes, uh, do observe and see what I'm doing, but we're going to cover this later in the chapter when we talk about securities and business processes. So initiating action, I want HR. I'm giving relevant permissions to HR partner in this business process, that what actions they can take. All right. And whenever I make changes to security, I always have to activate the changes. Activate pending security policy changes. Okay, now let me refresh this page so I can add HR partner in our business process step. We should see that the security group restrictions, it should now have HR partners in it as well. There we go. Now we can use HR partner in the group. That one did not show up. So I'm going to assign it to okay. So another way of managing this is, let's go to HCF executives. At our top level support, I assign this role to Logan. So in addition to HR partner, we have to be now mindful that we use HR business partner role for our organizations that has been assigned to Logan. All right, so let's come back to our inbox. So while we have fixed the issues that we were seeing, so we don't get any unassignable role, let's come back to our original task where we had reassigned the task to Logan for the proposed compensation hire. And we are not logged in as Logan. So let's start proxy as Logan. And here we go. So we have our task for proposed compensation hire for Brian Adams in our inbox. Because this is a new hire, we need to set up the base pay, the compensation basis, and all the related information. So we can directly do it from the inbox. So as per the package guidelines, it'll give us some related information, say Deloitte, Beta. Okay, let's use XYZ. This is a grade, say grade profile. We wanted to give this person a salary. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit over time, but I would like to show you how the hire process works. Say HR payroll salary, that's the compensation plan. Say amount is going to be 189,000 US dollars, and the frequency is going to be say annually. And if I have any allowances or paid salary or unit salary or merit or bonus or stock, I can add them here as well. So for now, let's submit. And we have an alert. And what is that alert? Total base pay is above pay range maximum. That's fine. Okay, so it seems that we have completed the hire process for our CEO, which is Brian Adam. And let's open the employee. So here we can see Brian Adam has been hired. His employee ID is employee-6-6019. His company is CF Company April 2022. Location is Hawaii. Supervisory organization is this that he's part of. Position is Motown Chief Executive Officer. Employee type is regular. Management level is 2, Chief Executive Officer, full-time, location. And he is hired today, so he has 0 days and 0 months. And his work address is pulled from the location and his email address. And if you look at the job and the worker history, you would be able to see the hire process that got completed and the proposed compensation that got completed. And if I go to compensation, you should be able to see the compensation package that we just set up for him. Just now, it's 189,000 US dollars annually. The compensation package, grade profile, total base pay, company, and the compensation HR payroll salary.